Hi, I'm Bill Merrell, and today's topic is going to be very interesting to those people, especially seniors in high school, and those parents who are looking to afford or try to afford their college education. The program is preparing for the future post high school graduation. Having been a parent of 5 kids, this time of the year, it's very important to figure out what you're doing for the future. And the future is something that hopefully is bright for everyone. But let's start right off the bat. In-state or out-of-state colleges, where should I go? If you're thinking about attending a college from out of state, consider the following factors: the cost of attendance, the enrollment size, distance from your hometown, and availability programs of study. Now, I'm going to be going off because of the fact that, like I said, I've gone through this many times, not just with my own kids, but in fact with myself, realizing that all these different things really do matter. The cost of attendance, we're going to be looking at pretty severely. Enrollment size of the schools, we're going to be noticing that of the local schools. I didn't go really out of state on that. Distance from hometown. When I was 18, I wanted to get away from home as fast as possible. Now, in some states, the adult children are still living with their, once again, I think it's Massachusetts, adult children still live with their parents at the rate of about 67%. So, like I said, how times have changed. Available studies. WVU, as we noticed in the past 6 months, have cut a lot of their programs. So when you're looking at schools, you really have to pay attention to what they're doing and why. The cost of private and public schools. The average cost of an in-state tuition and fees at a ranked public college is about $10,000 a semester, or a year, compared with about $23,000 for out-of-state students, according to U.S. News data. And tuition at ranked private school is almost 4 times. At this rate, this year, it's almost $39,000. So when you're looking at that, just because you see W&J back here doesn't mean that that's what their costs are. We'll look at that. I put a lot of the schools in there because we are talking about colleges. Enrollment size. Beyond cost, another difference between a private and public is enrollment size. Although it varies, public colleges tend to be larger. Okay, total undergrad at the University of Texas at Austin is about 40,000 students, while Rice University is about 4,000. Smaller colleges typically boast a lower student-faculty ratio, while bigger colleges commonly offer classes in lecture halls designed for hundreds of students. When I went to Pitt, I was in a class one time of about 110 students. When I went to Duquesne, it was more like 30. Consider the environment. Do you want a larger public research university, or are you looking for something that is a bit smaller? Here's the cost of all the schools, or well, most of the schools in the local area. You see Carnegie Mellon, and these are just tuition costs. These are not room and board or anything else. Has about 33,000 with about 15,600 students. Main campus of Pitt, $8,000 less, but it has almost twice as many students. Duquesne University, more than Carnegie Mellon, but it has half of their students. W&J has a lot less than most of them, and their costs are relatively comparable to Pitt's public school. Chatham University, once again, is a little bit higher. Waynesburg, about in the ballpark for sure. Notice the University of Pittsburgh-Greensburg is substantially less than their main campus cost. That's because, once again, a lot of services that are offered there, research and everything, at the main campus. Slippery Rock College, about 18,000. It's a public school. Penn West is about 19,000. That used to be California University. But the student population and the closeness of the schools are important. Let's take a look, deep dive here into what it may cost you as a student going to Penn State. Now, most Penn State students go to a sub-campus for the first 2 years. Then they go to the main campus for the last 2 years. The figures you see here are just for the main campus. All right, I didn't go breaking that down. So you see that the total cost of food and housing and tuition per year is $35,118. Well, you look at that for, and I did this for a Pennsylvania resident, not for a non-resident, but you look at that for the 4 years, that's $140,000. Okay? When you're 21 years old and having a debt of $140,000, that's quite substantial. But when you drop it down and you're paying the student loans, depending upon your income at that time, you're paying between $753 to almost $1,400 a month just to pay off that debt, which is about $300,000 over 25 years. Now, I did not take into consideration any scholarships or forgiveness or anything else, and we'll talk about some of those programs as we go along. Distance from hometown. Depending upon the student, the distance to a college from home can make a big difference. I have a nephew that went to Purdue. That was tough for his parents to get out to see him. It was tough for him to get home for holidays and things. But the bottom line is they offered the program, and he had the opportunity to get into engineering where he wanted to go, and it worked out very well for him. A common misconception about enrolling at college close to home, for instance, is that you know lots of people and you'll have the influence of all the people that you know there. Sometimes that's true, but most of the time there may be only 10 or 12 kids you'll know in the entire campus. Keep in mind whether you want to be within driving distance or a plane ride away. If you go to the University of Texas, it could be it could be a great school to go to, but the problem is you're not going to drive home for the weekend to see your family. You're not going to be able to come home to school for homecoming and things like that. Some students are looking to get as far away as possible. I related my position here whenever I went to Pitt right after high school. I did everything wrong. I joined a fraternity, and I was not capable of going to classes every day. So at that time, whenever you left school before 30 days, they gave you your money back. My parents were very happy about that. Once again, some people want to get away from mom and dad, spread their wings, and others want to be, so they can't necessarily drop in an hour away, but they want to be close to home. Available courses of study. Once again, I mentioned that this past summer, WVU dropped a whole bunch of programs, and a lot of people were already into those by 2 years or 3 years. So they dropped them, so those kids had to make a change. You really have to look at the school that you're considering and find out from them if those programs are going to be offered in the future. That's going to make your degree possible. Some colleges might be known for business and co-op with interns, with abundant class options related to finance or accounting. And we'll take a look at those two fields especially as we go on here. Now, how to narrow down your colleges. Very important. Before researching both in-state and out-of-state colleges, create a list of must-haves. What do you need? Do you need good housing? Do you need, do you have medical issues that you need to have looked at from time to time? Being far away may not be positive for you. All right, so you have to see what's a good fit for you. Moody says, find a place where you can grow and be challenged, but also where you feel comfortable and can learn more about yourself. Because this is going to be a time where you actually find out what your own capabilities are. Visiting schools is key. Touring colleges with varying enrollment sizes and locations, both in cities and suburbs, close to home and far away. If an in-person tour is out of the question, giving cost barriers and distance, many schools offer either live or pre-recorded virtual options. Some high school host college representatives, and Peters does too. So have the opportunity to talk to these schools, find out what they offer. Once you're down to a few, and what we used to call as a Benjamin Franklin list, you make 2 columns. One that you are positive about these schools, one's negative. And then see which one comes out with more positives. It makes it really an easy choice after you do that. This is very important, the undergraduation rates, or the undergraduate graduation rates. You see Pitt and Penn State, they're doing pretty good at 84 and 88%. But there's some schools that don't do that well. Indiana University of Pennsylvania, and these facts came from Unistats that you see at the bottom. That's for this past, the 2014. So I mean, we're talking about years before, but this is a constant with these schools. Indiana University, most of the kids, I understand, take 6 years to graduate from that school, and half the class you start with don't end up graduating, which is really sad. But the University of Pitt and Penn State seems to be the highest. Grove City's right in there. Duquesne's not far behind. Okay, so whenever you're looking at these, you have to consider that the people that you're in their first year class may not be there whenever you graduate. But you have to take a look at that. This is very important, okay? And we're going to be looking at about 8 slides here, which jobs have problems. And I've tried to do this. This list was put out by MIT. These jobs are at risk of being replaced by AI. And you see there are interpreters and translators, historians, passenger attendants, sales representatives, writers and authors, customer service reps, CNC toll programmers, telephone operators, ticket agents and travel clerks, and broadcast announcers and radio DJs. These are the ones that MIT found to be the least protected. Now, this list was done by the Democratic staffers of Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, and it includes its own ranking, the total number of potential job replacements. Okay, now this is going to be very important, because as you see these jobs, you know, once again, you don't need a degree with a lot of them, but if you go for a degree in these fields, you have a potential of not having a job very long because of AI. You know, growing up in the 60s here in Peters Township, AI wasn't a thing. We didn't have to even imagine it. But now it's such a big, you know, with Amazon getting rid of hundreds of thousands of employees soon, because of AI, the things that they can do. They don't have to pay health insurance. They don't have to pay overtime. They don't have to, you know, all they have to do is pay somebody to repair them whenever they break down. But these jobs you see here on this slide, fast food and counter workers, 89% of those jobs are going to be taken by AI. Customer service reps, 83%. Labor, freight, stock, and material movers, this goes with like the Amazon, 81% of those jobs are going to be gone. Sales, retail sales, 62%. Stocks and order fillers, 76%. Cashiers. You see that now at Giant Eagle. Most of the people go through the self-help. They don't need the cashier anymore. As more and more of those jobs are going to go by the wayside. But it gets worse, believe it or not. Okay, let me see. I might have slipped up here. Yes, secretaries, administrative assistants, except legal, medical, and executive. 80% of those people are going to be gone out of jobs. Health aides, 40%. Janitors. You see them if you go through Sam's Club now. You'll see the floor being cleaned by a machine. It's no longer needing that janitor to take care of it. Bookkeeping, accounting, and auditor clerks. Waitresses. Heavy tractor trailer drivers. You see this in California and Texas. They already have these AI taking up these long-haul truck drivers. Accountants and auditors. So if you're going into any one of these positions and looking for a college degree in accounting, I'm sorry, but the job might not be there when you come out. Team assemblers, software developers, okay? And here's teaching assistants, preschool. The one exception here is special education, and the girl that I talked to earlier is going into that field, and that's the one exception here. Special education is going to be basically left alone. AI can't do what they can do. More majors that are likely to be impacted, and this is from Ernst, okay? Computer science. AI type of computer program capable of doing calculations at a speed and complexity that is impossible for humans to do. Statistics. If you love analyzing statistical trends, you might be considering a career in data science, like computer science. Many data science functions can be performed by using AI tools. Advertising and graphics. You see that movies are now being made by AI. Hollywood's all up in arms because of the fact that they just produced an entire movie with AI that is getting very high ratings, by the way. Business. If you're getting a business degree to become a stock trader, you're likely going to use AI algorithms in the job. Stock traders are known to work long hours, and unlike a person, a computer program doesn't sleep. Okay. More majors that are likely to be impacted by AI. Writing and editing. The ChatGPT launch showed that AI is capable of churning out a large amount of content. As a result, many small businesses are using AI to write marketing copy instead of hiring copywriters. Business. If you're getting a business degree to become a stock trader, once again, we talked about that. Accounting, once again, we talked about that. Healthcare administration. If you're interested in a career on the administrative side of healthcare, AI will likely streamline many administrative tasks, such as data entry. 30% of the current jobs will be automated by 2030. And this is from National University. The sad part is the impact by gender. 79% of employed women in the U.S. market in jobs at high risk of automation compared to 58% of men. Globally, 4.7% of women's jobs face severe disruption potential to AI versus 2.4% for men. In high-income nations, 9.6% of women's jobs are at the highest risk for AI automation compared to 3.2% for men. Women are underrepresented in the AI and STEM fields, limited access to new high-paying tech jobs created by AI, and AI in HR and recruitment could help reduce gender bias if designed carefully, but may also perpetuate or worsen bias if algorithms are not transparent or inclusive. Okay, the last slide here will be college majors that are safest from AI, at least in this half. The law. Becoming an attorney is going to be relatively safe, okay? That sounds sad, but political science, public policy, foreign relations, and related majors are intended for students who want to enter public service, and we will have still politicians, I'm sorry to say, in many cases. Medicine, people that in fact through nursing and people that take care of people. It doesn't seem that AI is always going to have the opportunity to take over that field. Engineering, there are many different engineering majors, each with their own benefits and career trajectory. All of them will be impacted by AI in some way. My grandson is finishing up at Penn State. He was hired by a company last summer, and he is staying with them in the future because of the fact that the opportunities that they have given him. So while he was a student, he was working for them. He was on a paid internship during his, between his sophomore and junior year. But he has stayed with him now for a while, and it looks like it's going to be very beneficial for hopefully both of them. Physical specialties. This is a mixed group of majors which rely heavily on field work, archaeology, pathology, wildlife, marine biology. These are things that are actually going to hands-on, out in the field type thing, are going to be relatively safe from AI. Okay, I just wanted to, like I said, we're going to take a break here now. and we'll come back with some more good and questionable stuff about what's going to happen in the future. Okay, I look forward to seeing you back on the second half. Thank you. Thanks for coming back. Once again, we're talking about a lot of planning for the future, all right, as far as the high school kids are looking towards going to college or doing something else. It takes a lot of planning, and it takes a lot of understanding the problems as well as the benefits. And those are some things that we're going to be doing. But for the next couple minutes, we're going to be listening to somebody other than me, which I'm sure everybody will be thankful for. So we're going to go right into another slide here with a gentleman who's talking about degrees that are useless.
In 2025, it has become more important than ever to pick the right degree. There are countless AI layoffs happening right now from all the big companies around the world. And the thing is, AI is not going to get any worse. In fact, it's going to get better and better and cause even more jobs to be automated in our increasingly competitive job market. And so today it becomes very important to not pick the worst degrees out there, the ones that AI is going to soon replace, if not already has replaced. And as a current student at Yale Business School, and one that has spoken with over 100 different companies, I know what these companies are looking for, and I know which degrees are going to be the most useless ones to pick in our current job market. So make sure you pay attention to all 5 of the worst degrees nowadays to pick, with all the layoffs going on with AI. The first degree we're going to talk about is accounting. I am actually a CPA that worked for Ernst & Young, the 3rd biggest accounting company in the world. And even as a CPA, I'm here to admit that accounting is a very dangerous degree to get nowadays in 2025. The thing is, AI is incredible at focusing on data entry and data analysis. And accounting, a lot of it is modeling work in Excel. At typical big accounting firms, you have the entry level that focuses on putting in the information. You then have a senior level that focuses on correcting others, and a manager level that focuses on overseeing the work. Even at big 4 companies, managerial position levels are becoming increasingly less important and are causing even more layoffs in the accounting world. And so you are no longer safe focusing on becoming a higher up within a company, because AI is going to continue to automate tasks such as data entry, data analysis, project management, and much more. Even as a CPA, unless you plan on starting your own business or bringing in business to the firm as a partner, I heavily advise against getting an accounting degree in 2025. Now, data science is very similar to accounting because a lot of it is going to be data input and analysis, and that is what AI is fantastic at. In fact, that is what a lot of the training that it does is on. And so better you don't focus your efforts on something that a computer is going to be much better at doing than yourself. Because especially if you're a student now in university, you're going to have an increasingly difficult time finding a job when there's a lot of people with a degree with not much demand. So if you're one that's early on in your university and you're getting a data science degree, I really do recommend that you transition out of that degree and pick one of the other degrees that I'll soon talk about in my channel. For the 3rd major that we're going to discuss in this video, it's actually marketing. Now, marketing might not seem as obvious as the first 2 things that we talked about in this video, but nowadays you can go on many AI engines and have them create for you a very high quality marketing post that would take you a very long time to create. AI has been focusing on automating repetitive and simple tasks, such as creating social media posts. So marketing is no longer a safe degree to get in 2025. And for that reason, I consider it to be one of the worst degrees to pick in 2025 if you're looking to be able to get a job after you graduate. And for the fourth degree that we're going to talk about today, it's actually going to be communications. Now, communications is actually a top 15 degree choice in 2025, and without good merit. It's very similar to marketing, but also is a little more versatile in that you could work in PR or media relations. However, a lot of these topics are soon going to be automated by AI. In fact, as a communications major, your only real viable option for finding a great job is going to be focusing on interpersonal communication or managing media relations. But if your job is going to be a simple marketing task, understand that even today, your job can be fully replaced. And for that reason, I really would not recommend picking a communications degree in 2025 if you want to have any real chance of getting a great career after you graduate university. And finally, for our fifth degree, it's going to be the one that's always been in the limelight, and that is computer science. Now, there's a few things I have to mention about this topic. You see, as someone who went to university and graduated in 2021, picking a computer science degree, or even data science like we talked about earlier, was one of the best degrees you can get nowadays. But now it is one of the highest laid off positions in many of these companies you see online. And you also have to realize that a lot of the effort that AI puts, for example with Claude, is in automating computer science and coding. Nowadays you can code smart contracts on cryptocurrency. You can do C++, you can do HTML. In fact, you can practically do any language you want much faster and better than 99% of coders out there. Now, one interesting caveat is that computer science is actually one of the most important jobs nowadays. You see companies like OpenAI and Microsoft paying millions of dollars to poach top talent. But that should not be something that you subscribe to, because that is people who are at the top of their league and who already have over 10 years of experience. And they're going to be creating the machines that are soon going to be automating their own jobs. So you are not going to have the same opportunity that they do, given that they are much further ahead in their career. And so for that reason, and the ones we talked about earlier, computer science is one of the worst degrees to get now in 2025. Now, if you saw your major listed or degree that you plan on getting in this video, or you're worried because though I didn't specifically mention your degree, you know it's something that AI is going to replace, I have a few important comments for you to pay attention to. The first is university is a great place to learn how to learn and to become very adaptable no matter the job market. You see, people that are able to be spontaneous and adaptive to the ever-changing job market are going to be the most successful ones. And so even if your degree is listed here or you're worried about AI replacing your career, understand that you are ultimately an individual and not the name behind your degree. And companies hire people, they don't hire names. So understand that it is who you are as a person and the skills that you bring to the table that matter, not the name behind your degree. And in addition, if you are a current student now or very early on in your career, you have a fantastic opportunity to still change out of your major or your job. If you are working as an early career professional, you could do what I did and pursue a master's degree so that you could do a complete career change. Because I used to be an accountant and had a very big worry that my job would soon be automated, as we see nowadays. Or if you're a student in your second or third year, it's never too late to change your major. And oftentimes, I think this current job market is a fantastic time in your life to pursue what you're passionate about and no longer just something that's going to bring you money. Because passion is where you're going to become a high performer in your field. And it's going to take people who are high performing in a job market like this to secure the best jobs. Understand that social interaction and people skills are increasingly more important than ever. That is really how you stand out in the age of AI, because AI automates tasks, but it does not automate rapport. And it is up to you to make people like you and to want to bring them onto your team. So my advice for current students and for those looking now for a new job is to learn to speak with everyone and to learn to be the sociable person that people want on their teams. Because essential skills like sales and people skills are going to become always important, even in the age of AI like we are in now. I know this video was a bit more doom and gloom because we talked about the worst and the most useless degrees to get in 2025. But if you subscribe down below, our next video is going to be the opposite, in which we're going to talk about the best degrees to pursue in 2025 if you want a real chance at finding a job nowadays or in moving to a better career. Now, if you're a current student...
Okay, we're going to move ahead. Let's look at how to pay for college. Okay, filling out the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, is a must if you want to go for college. Scholarships, grants, and everything else. All right. I'm familiar with practically every one of these. I have 5 different degrees, and I have received benefits from each one of these opportunities. The work-study programs, the advanced placement, the grants, the scholarships. The U.S. military, we'll talk about that a little bit because of the fact many people don't see that as an option whenever they're looking at college. But in fact, if you join the military, they will pay for your college. They will pay for your different career fields. When I was serving, before I retired, I was offered to become a physician's assistant if I wanted to go and do that, and they were willing to put me into that program. But we'll talk about that in a little bit here. For example, being a member of the Pennsylvania National Guard, H-Bill 1324 is a military family education program that if you join the National Guard, not only do you get educational assistance, but your family also, if they go to a state-related school, can go to college at no or reduced cost. All right. If you're looking for the future, I know many young people are, thinking about what their future is going to be as far as families and that are concerned. And if you're looking for the potential opportunity there, that in fact they provide free or low-cost education at Pennsylvania state-related schools if you go through the National Guard. So it's something to look forward to. One of the state representatives just put out a notification here that the application period for most colleges are now open. The process is new to you. You can get plenty of information through the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency. They can help you with financial programs. They can help you with grants and scholarships if you're available or if they're available for you. Let's take a look at the money you may be making, okay? For engineering, almost $77,000 a year starting salary. Computer science, social sciences, almost $70,000. Communications, once again, it was a program that he talked about. At the current time, the program is offering a salary in the low $60,000 range. Let's look at the lowest paying professions. Fine arts, music, neuroscience, art and music education, drama and theater, visual arts, studio arts, early childhood education. These are, once again, whenever you look at these, as a high school student, they may seem like a lot, but then when you realize that you may be carrying $15,000 or $16,000 a year in debt from your college education, then all of a sudden these figures don't really matter because of the fact that you'll be living at home or with someone that in fact has a degree or job that in fact will pay the bills. Let's look at the jobs that you can get without an education in college. A pipe welder, $68,000. Well, wait a minute, that was pretty close to that other one with a 4-year degree. Aircraft mechanic, boilermaker, detectives. If you're going to put up the communication lines on telephone poles, they're making a pretty hefty salary now, and I think that that's even going up. Airline pilots do not need a college degree. Okay, they have a need for airline pilots now, and you can be making over $150,000 a year in a couple of years as an airline pilot. So, I mean, like, whenever you're looking at these things, you see the roles usually require a high school diploma, safety training, union apprenticeship, and physical health to handle the job. All right, it's something that when you look at these things, you really have to pay attention to, because can you live well on a job from that you're not paying tons of money for? Absolutely, there are jobs out there. You know, many times, and we talked about this earlier with some folks, many times people talk about things that they don't really have the experience or used to. And I want to bring up some of the programs that I've been involved in. And once again, as I mentioned earlier, I used all of those things. I used the military education, I used grants, I used scholarships, I used everything to pay off all of my education. And I got a lot of education. And I retired in the military, I retired as a teacher, I retired in the construction field. So these are, different things that, in fact, I wanted to share with you. The experience that I have had doing these different jobs, in fact, allows me to look at them in a realistic opportunity. Also having 5 children of my own that, in fact, most of them have gone to school, got their degrees and master's degrees, and in fact, they paid for most of it by themselves. They really didn't need a lot because they had good jobs or scholarships and that went along with it. There's a lot of interesting things. The NBC News reported that 63% of adults don't think the 4-year degree is worth it anymore. They talk about, because of the political aspect of it and everything else, that you're not getting the education, you're getting indoctrination now. And that's, like I said, that's up significantly from in the late 90s. So this is something that you have to be concerned about. There's a lot of opportunity out there, but there's also an awful lot of things that you have to be looking at whenever you're looking at the degree. We've talked about in this program the cost of education, not only the education itself, tuition and assistance, but also the cost of room and board at some of these schools, the in-state versus out-of-state tuition requirements, the different degrees like WVU I mentioned earlier, cut a lot of their programs, and a lot of people were already in there 2 or 3 years into their program whenever they cut them. You have to look at the opportunity for the schools to, in fact, deal with you on a basis of your needs and what you want to do with your life. The telephone and everything that we have ruined, as this gentleman just talked about, basically the social skills that we were taught when we were growing up. Talk to people, talk to them, don't talk down to them, don't talk up to them, just talk to them as people. And it's sometimes very hard for students to understand that. When I was teaching, it was very tough to get students to talk to me because they were more interested in trying to look at their phone and see what it would do for them. So anyhow, I want to end this program with the opportunity to, in fact, review it. Once again, come up with as I called it, the Benjamin Franklin pluses and minuses that each school offers as far as the tuition and everything else. Once again, there's just a little bit of background that I have. I went to many schools, many different schools. I got degrees from a lot of them, but I used the program. I used my military background in safety technology is one of my main career fields. All the other things that I did was either for myself or planning for a future. So the bottom line is you have to look at what you want to do and how you can afford to do what you want to do, and what are you going to do with it after you get it. So I want to thank you once again for coming. This has been an interesting program. Hopefully the ups and downs will in fact work themselves out, but there's some interesting things that every student, every parent has to be considering. Not a lot of people can just write off big checks to pay off their student debts. So I want to thank you very much for coming. Hopefully you learned something positive, even if it was a downer. But we just wanted to get people understanding the issues and the problems that new students will have dealing with AI as well as other problems. Well, thank you very much, and I wish you the best holiday possible.